And like one of the witnesses that I watched, was a Marine. Like he was up there with his decorations on him, right? Like really putting himself out there, and how like he had his on his squad that was there. There were like five other members, and so they, said to Greer, yes, he's telling the truth, but please don't make us public. Keep us anonymous, right? This is too dangerous. I don't want to put my family at risk. Um, and who can blame them? I mean, if this is all true, this is the worst corruption and scandal that we have ever seen in the American government. I, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, right. Mm-hmm, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, the thing that's so shocking with Greer was talking about how like the current task force that they put together doesn't even have high level clearances. How some presidents haven't been in the loop. Uh, just how alluding to that secret government. Um, just really keeping things under wraps, right? Um, yeah, I was just looking at Eisenhower. What was top general of the army at one point. So he definitely was high level. Yeah, and I hadn't heard like Greer brought up, was it Greer or his interviewer Ross? I think it was Ross that brought up Eisenhower signing treaties. Um, and I wasn't like aware of there being clauses in the treaty about UFOs around nuclear plants. Um, I haven't had a chance really to dig into that, but that was I need to see that treaty. um, they must not have used real clear language about UFOs, but uh, yeah, there definitely was something there, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I was going to say Raytheon seems to be the name coming up repeatedly. I mean, so they definitely talked about Raytheon being involved in reverse engineering. Um, and then, yep, yeah. It's just literally, I don't know how such credible people can be getting up to say these things, how they can be doing lawsuits and, whistleblower complaints and stuff, and they're not to be validity to this, right? Just as a sane human being trying to look at this from an outside perspective, like the Senate Intelligence Committee said that Greer's whistleblower complaint has merit. Like, everybody's like, someone needs to come forward and say that Grush is real. Well, the Senate Intelligence Committee is saying that he's real and that this has merit. Right? Like I was, and that he got clearance to be able to talk about things that have been released, right? You'll notice like almost everything that he was saying is confirmation and discussion of, footage like the Tic Tac stuff that's already been released, right? And he was very limited on some areas, right? Like the number of crafts that they have, but it was okay for him to talk about the fact that they have crafts, right? So some of that is really interesting to me. Like I would like to see the memo from the DOD that he got that said you can talk about this or you can't talk about that, right? Like that memo must have been amazingly powerful, right? Because like the things that he can say, but then whoa, hold back, I can't finish that sentence. Right? So yeah, lots of breadcrumbs versus the Greer Disclosure Project conference was just, let's tell it, let's show these witnesses, let's, what I would really like to see at this point is the interviewer for Greer, Ross Colhart, however you say his name. I'd like to see what he has to say about the Disclosure Project's press conference, right? Well, and at one point, I caught a little clip of Greer saying that there was 119 crash or retrieval events that he knew of. 119, 121. Yeah. Well, it's kind of like right now I'm at this point where I'm trying to go, okay, there's so many facts coming out right now. There's so many things. What are the parts that, yeah, I believe versus parts I don't believe? And like one of the witnesses was a guy who had like some kind of friendly fire gave him brain damage, and today for Dr. Greer. And some of his stuff was so good, and then he kind of lost coherence at some points. And I was like, whoa. But then I'm like, oh yeah, he has brain damage, so like this is really hard for him, right? But like his first stuff was really, really good. Then he started talking about like incidences with his wife and stuff that like I was like, well, some of this sounds a little out there, right? um but yeah, this is going to be a week of fact checking. People are going to be hitting the search engines, hitting the AI, saying each little piece of this needs to be unraveled, right? The big thing is that Congress really needs to like schedule dates for their hearing and investigation. That would make people feel like they're doing something, right? Like Congress, some of the congressmen have said, oh, we're going to have hearings. Oh, we're going to investigate this. But like they need to take action so that we see that it's not just sweet talk, right? Uh, I can't imagine that Biden knows anything because he is just such a babbler. Like if he knew stuff about this, he would like because he rambles. Like when he does his speeches, there's these rambly parts, right? Like I can't imagine. I don't think he knows yet. What I don't know. I don't know. I was just It sure did. Okay. Yeah, that the Vatican told the US about the Italian UFO and that the US came and scooped it up. And I was like, wait, I thought the Nazis got it. Yeah. Be of good cheer. Aliens are here. I feel like we're starting to play Trillionaire Risk. Doesn't it not? It sounds, oh my goodness, it sounds like you're literally describing your game, Trillionaire Risk. Um, mhm. Yeah. Yeah. The big thing to me is that like one fifth of the world's population, more than one fifth, is Catholic, right? The Pope represents so much of the earth, right? Like that outside of country lines, that's a massive power structure. Um, that's it's for the Vatican to be involved at that point is shocking, right? Um, but it does, a lot of these events, a lot of UAP events, I guess is what we're calling them now, in Brazil, in Chile, in Peru, those are countries that are very Catholic, very, very strongly Catholic, right? Um, a lot of like the recent like commercial airline sightings are in South America, right? So yeah, it just makes you wonder like what are the dividing lines, right? And why are there so many different types of ships? Like that's the part that before this, I thought, yeah, there's only one kind of alien coming to see us, right? But there's so many different types of ships that I'm starting to go, okay, it's more than one species. It's, more, you know, so many different types of ships. I was looking at the president's itinerary for today, going like, couldn't he just, have just a little blurb for the media, right? His whole day is going to North Carolina to talk at Nash Community College, where he is talking about the American Families Plan. Literally, the entire day is about a, half an hour, 45-minute speech that is going to be at a community college, and then so it's all flying there and coming home. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Good luck. Yeah, I just, I'm going back and my mind is racing on little things that Grush said, right? I just I want to know what has happened to bodies that have been recovered, right? Oh. Mhm. Well, even that Marine was talking about as he was being escorted away, the people escorting him were literally talking. Should we off these guys? Like, and you could just see like the emotional trauma that he still experiences thinking about that. That these human beings, that are some kind of military are literally talking about killing other military members in such a casual way, right? Um, and then, that he went and talked afterwards after he got taken back to base and got debriefed by an admiral, right? And he didn't out that admiral. Like he was like, wish that person had come forward, right? Like, but, oh, I wish he had, right? Like, he's putting everything else out there. Why keep one person's name confidential, especially an upper person, right? Uh, but I think he's still active military. That might be why. But I just, poof, um, absolutely mind boggling, right? I didn't see the first one, no. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I was just scanning through. That was Donald Heckert. Donald Heckert was that. Um, yeah, Lieutenant Colonel Donald Heckert. Yeah. Oh, that was the other thing about Greer. Greer talking about that people had died and that there were malevolent aliens, right? It. Mm, Yeah, that's, and he said, I'm scared now. I got that part. um, but the big thing from the disclosure press conference today was that they have a real call to action for attorneys to join their legal team. Um, so I would say, you know, in support of that, our call to action today is to support their legal team. We all want to know, right? If you're an attorney, if you're a legal professional, get in on that disclosure project. Um, it's linked in their video. Like they have a form to fill out if you are an attorney interested in helping with that project, because we need that. The mhm. The rally, you, yeah. Yeah, there was a bit of hero worship by the fellow, I can't remember his name, the one with the brain damage, was like rally, right? Like he said it like in a military way, right? Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I don't know what to think about the different types of aliens and the alliances. Because everything has been like you were talking about breadcrumbs, right? Like Grush himself is not giving a lot of specifics about, you know, what he has heard about each kind, right? Um, I mean, he has alluded to different crafts and bodies and things, right? And that these are non-human, right? But like actual details like that just seems like they're, yeah. I guess we'll just have to wait for congressional hearings and see what happens with the whistleblower complaint. But there's just so much question and things unsaid, right? Um, and also, like, I'm not, you know, none of this seems to be getting attention and validation from leaders of other countries, right? What we need to see is a task force on the UN. We need to see, uh, you know, groups of countries sharing their information, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. It just seems like such a convenient go-to excuse, doesn't it? Mhm. Well, just thinking of other countries, and wasn't it the people who first interviewed Grush? Weren't they British? Isn't the debrief British? Um, like it just seems like, and News Nation interviewer was Australian. Like it seems like they should be able to pull some information from their own countries, right? That could be. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you picked an Italian person for that, were you thinking this? No, but what a coincidence, huh? I and as far as I can tell, there's no reaction from the Vatican today. Like, shouldn't there have been some kind of reaction from them today about that? No, but they should be a key component. I mean, if they had that kind of involvement, what else do they know? Right? They are known for their secrets and conspiracies, not necessarily about aliens, right? But uh, yeah. Mm-hmm. But they haven't given any response, and they usually when they are mentioned in the news, there's some kind of response. So that will be interesting to, hmm, that's true. That is true. Yeah, it, Grush is not the first person to come forward with a complaint, but he definitely seems like the most credible. Uh, right. And I think part of the credibility is he's not saying that he's a witness himself. I think that that's part of where credibility is lost. There's so much stigma. Um, with him saying, hey, I'm this third party that's been investigating this, and now I'm going to file a complaint about it. He comes off as kind of this almost unbiased witness, right? Uh, but I mean, there have been, you know, tons and tons of stories of people. But as soon as people talk about their own witness story, they get put out into pasture as nuts, right? So yeah, just moving forward, what is it going to take to get the stigma off of this topic so that we can actually start evaluating and fact checking, right? Even when you put stuff into one of the AIs, they all respond as, oh, well, this isn't real, this is a myth, right? Like they're all very, very negative about it. Uh, they'll use words like alleged, or um, AI has been specifically trained not to talk about aliens and UFO topics. Don't you think? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hey, remember those ladies at the UFO Fest who put together that book of all of the data of visitations and sightings? Do they have that in like actual data form? Like, I know they published a book, but like, did they say anything about having it available online? Like, wouldn't that be interesting to put into an AI and then start correlating, events to those dates? Mm-hmm. Hmm. That'd be great. Yeah, the location's got to start being leaked. This is crazy. Um, so Matt, do you have how much time do you have today? Are we needing to wrap up? Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay. When are we going to podcast again? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, well, what about like Wednesday afternoon or Thursday morning? Okay. Oh, 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 I have to do it before 1:30. Let's see, it'd be 12. Oh, I can't do it Wednesday afternoon. I have an appointment that afternoon. It's just not going to work. Um, Wednesday, I can do Wednesday evening or Thursday morning or Friday. What's going on Friday? Oh, Friday. Okay, let's plan on that as we sail that. Okay, so time to wrap up for today. Our call to action is to follow Meditation Matt on Twitter for an eclectic mix of philosophy, art, activism, and ufology. Thank you for taking the time to be part of our podcast today for Beyond Humanity and join us on Thursday morning. Don't be afraid of the truth. That song sticks in my head so hard. Oh my goodness. I find myself humming it all the time. Um, okay, so Thursday morning, 9:30. And we originally had scheduled for that day, so we'll just move it up. That would be great. And then that gives me time to watch this stuff all again. I really need to just go through, because like my shock, you're right, the shock value of everything is just so what, right? Ontological shock is real. That's our next episode. Oh, the ontological shock is real is like my mantra for today. Sorry, I'm so disjointed today. I just it's hard, especially the Greer stuff. It is so